Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome host of ESPN SportsCenter, Linda Cohn, and World Cup champion, Abby Wambach.
How great is this? All right, look who's here.
Hello.
She's been on a whirlwind, and if you don't know who Abby Wambach is, I don't know what rock have you guys been hiding under? So, just for you, because I'm in TV, I brought a little video. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Wambach with the left foot. Abby Wambach.
Crosses it towards Wambach. It's 2-1. There's more in the center. Wambach comes up. Wambach fires. She connects here on the penalty. Wambach.
Abby, this is just a small sample size, what we see here, but wherever you go, you're a rock star. You're a rock star. It's been a whirlwind for you since that magical moment, and you've had several magical moments, two-time Olympic gold medalist, but here you win the World Cup. What has it been like on this amazing adventure?
It has been insane. There's really no other word to describe it. For the last 3 weeks, it seems like I've been on planes, trains, and automobiles, talking to folks like you and talking to little girls around the country. Coming home and the reception that we got from our American fans who deserve this championship as much as we did. It's been so special, spectacular, and I wish I were in some ways a male athlete because I would be able to fly privately. Being in the airports, and getting hounded everywhere I go, I'm not complaining about it because it's part of the gig, but I just had the best time. I've had so many great experiences. Was here a couple days ago for the ESPYs, and I couldn't be more thankful because not only has it been a life's work, but we really needed everybody on our team to win this World Cup.
Right, and that is so significant, the team and the aspect and the community. And it's interesting, some of the thoughts in your opening comment right here with me that I take from that. And you know what? Your message. You said you have a message to bring. And maybe in a strange way because you're not a guy, you don't get the private jets, you're able to be with the people.
Yeah.
You're not hidden, and there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is the message that you want out there?
Well, I think one of the biggest things for me after winning this World Cup that I like to talk about is how we can transition and transcend this into positively impacting sport through whether it's social change or economic change. And I'm a bigger picture veteran, so I like to think that I want to leave the game better than I found it. And now I know for sure that I will be leaving the game better than I found it. Not that I'm retiring quite yet, and I haven't decided. Nobody freak out. But that we want to talk about real issues. The gender gap pay issue that kind of really came up after we won the World Cup, and our winnings are 1/17 the amount that the men.
Say that again. That's important.
Our earnings from the FIFA organization was 1/17 the amount. 1/17 the amount that the men got paid for winning their World Cup. And for a company or an organization rather like FIFA that has billions and billions and billions of dollars, that's just not good enough. And so these are the topics that I'm excited about to hopefully allow that next generation of studs that go on behind me to be able to make more of a living than I was able to do. And that's my passion. My passion is not just to talk about my teammates and how amazing teamwork is and how important and inclusive sports can be and confidence building. But I want to impassionately talk about how we can still get better, because we all can get better, not just on the sports field, but in the business world. I mean, you fight this battle probably every day as well, that we have to become more human and not look at each other like men and women as separate beings. We are human beings, and we all deserve the same rights and pay as the next person.
Abby, it's true. The skeptics out there will say, hey, we've heard this before from you women. We've heard this before. We've heard this before. So what's different? What can people do? What can these people do? What can we do to forward the conversation and not only talk about it, but create action?
It's a great question, because a long time ago I said something, I want people to invest in women's professional sports because it's the smart thing to do, not because it's the quote-unquote right thing to do, not because you have a daughter now. I want people, I want corporations, I want people who want to sponsor women's professional sports out there to do it because they see that there's actually potential. Soccer in this country has probably the most potential out of any sport in the world right now, and I think that women's soccer, you saw how encompassing our World Cup this last summer was for people. And I know that the corporate sponsors that signed on to U.S. Soccer many years ago, whether it's a Nike or whomever, I know that they were very happy that we won the World Cup with their logo on our chest. And I think that that's something that's understated in a lot of ways. And people might say, oh, well, they really wanted the men. Well, we can talk about, Mia Hamm. She has the biggest building on Nike campus. And we can talk about some of the other athletes that have gone through our team that I know companies have signed on with U.S. Soccer because of the females and because of the fact that our team wins championships. Not to bash the men, but the reality is Americans like winners. And for me, I know that there's a lot of us going on the whirlwind post-celebration tour, appearances, talking to people, getting around the country, and this is our source of income. This is our main source of income, and that's a sad truth, because most male athletes, if they win, they're good. If they're on a championship team, they get that big ring and they're good. But for us, we have to really, really go around and work for the things that we get, and that's something that I want to be a part of, that change, that economic change as it pertains to women in sport, and get that gap a little bit closer.
And the other thing is, Abby, the situation when you brought up the differentials with the men compared to your team and what the women bring, you shattered TV ratings. I mean, the ratings for television were phenomenal watching the women. And I'll tell you the difference, too. Not only because the game is so watchable and so exciting and these women are so likable, you bring families together. It was not only the little girl, but the little boy with the parents, with the mother, with the father, with the two mothers, with the two fathers, with whatever it is. It was family viewing. Yeah. It kind of like bigger picture than just a sporting event to me.
Yeah, and obviously every 4 years it makes it even more fun to watch, because it's not every year that you get to see this spectacle event. And then, of course, as we go on in the tournament and continue to go on, the stakes get higher and the stresses get bigger, and it gets more exciting to watch. But we were the most watched soccer game on television ever.
Right.
Ever. We actually had more viewers than the NBA Finals had, and that's something I'm very proud of, too.
Yeah. Before I let you go here, because of course, you're going to be part of our panel coming up in just a few moments, I want to know what your biggest takeaway, or perhaps someone that you have met during this fabulous ride that has been amazing. Can you share a story with us, Abby?
Yeah, actually, I was just telling you backstage.
Yeah.
I met Sheryl Sandberg the other day at the ESPYs. She and her son, and her son brought a friend, came, and they were seeing all the cool athletes or whatever. And Sheryl, she and I had a great conversation, and I'm a huge fan of hers and her book, Lean In, and obviously aspire to maybe what she does one day in terms of being a leader at a company, a major company. And I asked her, I said, what do you think I should do when I'm done playing? And she pointed at me and she said, I will personally mentor you and make sure that you do something that's in front of people, that's in big boardrooms, because you're a leader. I can see it in your face. I can tell by the way you give interviews. I can tell by the way that you're genuine in the way that you talk. And she said, that's the kind of person people want to follow.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't do that for everybody, by the way.
Yeah, and Sheryl was amazing, and I couldn't have been more relieved, because as an athlete, you don't necessarily know what you're going to do next until you kind of find it.
You're just playing your sport.
Yeah,
I think, right?
I mean, that's all I can put my mind to right now in terms of I just want to play. And so for her to have said that to me, I will be taking her up on that offer and emailing her. But she was really gracious, and I feel really special to have met her, because she's been an inspiration to me. I mean, I've read that book like 3 times. It's amazing.
Let's give a hand to Abby Wambach, please. And we will be joined by 2. Here they come now. I feel like I need like a drum roll or something, right? Oh, there's music.
Yes.
There's music. Here we are. Why don't, let's be very informal here. Tracey Russell down at the end. Why don't you tell who you are, where you're from, blah, blah, very quick. Just,
Sure.
LA Marathon.
Glad to be here. Tracey Russell, I'm the CEO of the LA Marathon here in Los Angeles. Been here for 2 years and having a ton of fun, really building an incredible marathon as a must-run global event.
Perfect. Michel?
Michel, French. Unfortunately, I am not an athlete, but maybe it will come later on. I am more involved in technology, and so I am the CEO of a small technology company called Alcatel-Lucent.
You should not bash yourself. I could have mistaken you for an athlete at any moment. I mean,
Yes.
my goodness, right?
We're all athletes.
That's right.
Everybody's an athlete. Everybody's an athlete.
Exactly. All right. You know what? So we got together this panel because I know, all of us know, it's not just about sports and bats and balls or anything, or hockey pucks or whatever. This is about sport can be used in so many great ways. We've been seeing it, especially over the last decade, whether it's social media, whether it's big events, and it's a great platform to get people interested, create buzz. It's not just keywords, it's fact, it's reality, and it's why we're all driven to sport. It's why we're all here, because we can help not only your local community, not only your country, but really we can help globally, and it's really an exciting place to be right now. So I want to start, Tracey, I'll start with you. You know, obviously the CEO of the Los Angeles Marathon. Huge event. This is a big event, Special Olympics, huge event, very exciting to be a part of this. But what is the significance? Tell me a story, Tracey. Why did you get involved in sport? Why did you know this was significant for what you wanted to do and the message you wanted to get out there?
Well, for me personally, I was a competitive swimmer growing up, not quite to the level that Michael is, obviously, but enjoyed the sport and really learned about discipline and understanding, what sports mean, not just to me, but to anybody. And I think, as I've switched over to the sport of running from a business perspective, have really seen and what we've been able to do in staging marathons, whether it's here in Los Angeles or around the world, is create an event that truly is inclusive. And one of the things that we find so unique about the sport of running, and especially marathoning, it's one of the only events that brings in your best athletes, and it brings in your first time or your weekend warriors on the same day, at the same venue, experiencing the same conditions. And so whether it's here in Los Angeles, and next year we'll be hosting the Olympic Marathon Trials for the US, where we will be selecting the top 3 men and top 3 women who will go on and compete in Rio. And that'll be on Saturday, February 13th, and that will be followed by our LA Marathon on Sunday. And so for us to really create this epic weekend of marathon running is just an opportunity to tell the world that the sport of running really is for anybody. All you need are a good pair of shoes, and we can get you out there getting active and fit.
Yeah. that's
Nike
great.
Nike shoes, of course.
Abby just doing her job, throwing in a Nike sponsor.
Sorry.
You know, Michel, people would be wondering, you know, you're one of the most successful business leaders in our world. You know, you represent France. You're our European representative on this panel. So why is sport important to someone like you and what you do?
So there are maybe two main reasons that I would like to highlight. First, I have always been involved in technology and sport and how to leverage technology in order, for example, to change the experience for all the ones which are looking at all these athletes. How can you really change the way they can interact with sport? And so, for example, I was the first, let's say 10 or 15 years ago, to introduce cameras in Formula One. So there was a race this weekend, as probably some of you know, and so now you have an experience which is much more engaging. Let's say last year we were the first to bring broadcasting experience for the Super Bowl with Verizon. And so again, we completely changed the way you can access to the sport in the stadium, which makes it much more appealing for the fans, and which is, of course, very great. 8 years ago, it was another event which was very interesting for me. It was, let's say, transatlantic race in sailing, and we were the first to put an Earth station on the boat in order to be able to broadcast pictures, images from the boat to, let's say, the viewers. And so again, for those transatlantic races previously, you were seeing the boats when they were leaving and then when they were arriving. And during a week, you had no image or whatsoever. You have to remember 10 or 15 years ago, that was the case for this type of sport. Now the experience has completely changed. And of course, for sponsors, that's much more interesting because you can create a story and you can do something. So all my life has been around technology and sport and how really to make sport more reachable and more interesting for viewers. So that's one piece. Second reason of my engagement is that sport can really be a platform, strategic platform for corporates. And so in my previous life, again, I was running a company called Vodafone, which is a small telecommunication company. It's the number one in the world in, let's say, mobile cell phones, mobile communications. And we were really using sport as a platform, not only to build the brand, to, let's say, grow our business, but also to engage with the customers, to engage with the employees, whatever they were, the managers and or the employees, and also to work on social values, such as in that case, let's say the platform was Formula One, which has been our platform for quite a while, and we're using this platform in order to engage in some of social debate around safety driving, for example. So that's the two ways of engaging. One which is technology and sport, the other is how to leverage sport in order to transform organization. Whether it's a company, whether it's a country, whatever, I guess that really sport can be at the heart of a transformation journey, which has always been what I have been engaged in the past few years.
Yeah, it's smart by those corporations, and it's smart, of course, by you to see it and see it as a window of opportunity for growth. And Abby, you know, we can just tell with the reaction to you wherever you go and whatever you do. You know, let's face it, we all want to be you. I mean, it's true. We want to be, you know, with the athlete. I know I always wanted to be. I did play hockey, but, you know, it's another time, another conversation.
Cool.
Yes, thank you. But so, Abby, the thing is, why is that significant here? Because when I look at it, we as a consumer, we as people who want to push social causes, we will turn to sport and we can say, hey, maybe this athlete can help spread the message. Why is that okay and helpful?
Well, I think it's important that all people find a passion outside of what they do for work, and whether it be a passion for helping disabled people, or whether it be a passion for helping the homeless, or whatever the cause may be, there needs to be, for me, in every human being's life, something that you do for other people. And I play a sport, and in some ways, I'm doing it for myself. You know, I earn a living, and I love to compete, and I love to represent my country. But I also know in other ways I'm an entertainer. I'm entertaining people. People choose to watch what I do and to get away from their own lives or whatnot. And I also know that I have a platform and a responsibility to affect positive social change.
Yep.
And some athletes choose to do it different than others. And obviously, Doha Goals Forum for me is a fantastic opportunity to come and talk about some issues that are going on, not just in women's sports, but also in sports in general, and how impactful and how reachable sports are to the world. And talk about how social media and the telecommunication business, how we can actually reach the viewer, the fan.
Are you amazed that we listen to what you have to say? Not you specifically, but the athlete, the professional athlete, the amateur athlete. We care what they're doing.
Yeah, I know. And the reality is we're all really normal people because we just do something extraordinary on a grand stage, but that doesn't mean I'm a good person, And I tell that to all my campers, all the kids I see, because I do something extraordinary at the best, as one of the best in the world, doesn't mean I'm a good person. It's what you do with that talent. It's what you do with that platform that will make and define who you are in terms of having a happy and a successful life. And for me, I want to make sure that yeah. And for me, I just want to make sure that...
See, they're ready to go through a wall for you.
that I try to positively inspire people to do whatever it is you want to do, because you can do it. You just have to put your mind to it, and you have to sometimes sacrifice it. I missed a lot of birthdays, and I missed funerals, and I've missed weddings, and I've missed parties, and I've missed time with my family. But if you want something bad enough, you will do whatever it takes. And that will be the defining thing. If you want something bad enough, you will do whatever it takes to make it happen. I wholeheartedly believe that. And everybody sitting on this panel knows that you are very successful at what you do. And every single day, you've got to go into the office and put your face on, whether you're happy or not, whether you love that day or whether you don't. But you have to do it. And both of my colleagues to my left here, it's the same thing. I'm sure you fight so many battles trying to deal with Los Angeles County on the marathon and dealing with athletes and the issues and making sure people are connected, whether it be Formula One racing or whatever it may be. We all have stuff, but we all have dreams and we all have goals. And in order to get to your goals, you just have to work hard and believe in yourself, and you got to sacrifice a bunch in order to achieve your dreams.
It doesn't come on a platter,
No
not for
way.
the ones who work for it.
No way.
Tracey, so what's next? What's the next move, big picture? How far can this outreach of sport and what we can accomplish through sport go?
Well, I think certainly, and I'll speak specifically to the sport of running, we've got an incredible program here in Los Angeles called Students Run LA. And to date, I think there's been 57,000 high school and middle school students who have come out and run the Los Angeles Marathon with us over the last 26 years.
Wow.
And that program, it has a capacity. And unfortunately, we're not able to take all the students here in Los Angeles that want to be a part of it. But it's amazing statistics in terms of 98% of the kids that show up that day finish the marathon. And those that are high school seniors, 98% of them are graduating from high school. And this program really targets kids, immigrant family children, and it targets some of the tougher neighborhoods here in Los Angeles.
Sure.
And it was started by a few teachers that were working in a school, and they were marathon runners themselves, and they said, you know what? We've got some kids who we think would benefit from a program like this that trains them to run for a 26-mile marathon. And the key with this program is it's all about completing, not so much about competing. Because for some, they think running a marathon at a young age might be tough, but it really is teaching them so many different disciplines in life. And to see and read the testimonials, I was looking at a few last week from this past year's LA Marathon, about how not just weight loss, but now I go home and I've changed the diet that my family is now focused on. We're changing and looking at, my coaches at school are teaching me about nutrition. And so I feel like programs like Students Run LA in other cities around the world can truly have an impact, and you can have those kids influence the rest of their family because they become so passionate about the goals they've set and what they want to do, and it just has an amazing ripple effect.
Well, I'll tell you, Tracey, the magical word is goals, because young people need goals so they don't get distracted with things that are not good. So, Michel, as we move forward, what do you think is the next thing? You have laid a path with technology, communication. What's on your to-do list next?
I guess it's again to continue to push the boundaries. When we listen to, let's say, all those great athletes that we have seen, let's say, all this morning, we want to expose those, let's say, athletes to the, let's say, the biggest amount of people all around the world. And so, which means that there is still a lot to be done in terms of connection, just connection. Internet connectivity, for example, on which we have so many new projects in order to make sure that it will be the case. And then to make, again, those events more appealing. Have in mind that sport is king. I mean, sport economies is probably $145 billion a year, out of which 45 are coming from sponsors. So we need sponsors to engage. And in order for sponsors to engage, they want to make sure that, let's say, those sports will be reachable for the mass. And so that's what it is about. And of course, all the new technologies are going to come, whether it's broadcasting, image, TV, 3D, whatever, let's say, you can imagine, augmented reality. So all those, let's say, nice words which are coming and which will make the experience much better. We are so proud to listen to what has been told us this morning. It's so motivating. It's so inspiring. So we want everyone to be inspired by you.
Right.
And so in order to do that, we just need to create the show, and we just need to make sure that those shows are accessible all around the planet. And it's not yet the case. So that's where technology really meets sport, and that's where we can really work with all the sport owners.
So how do we not drop the ball, Abby?
Good question. I think, obviously, television, the internet, social media, that has changed the game, so to speak, as it pertains to even knowing what's going on in different countries, knowing different foreign players' names, and seeing foreign leagues, the EPL and all these other sports
And
going
the
on.
passion is just as great as here in the States.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you'll continue to see over the years, the more technology that comes across and the more advances we make, the more connection the athlete will have to the fan, to the viewer, and the more connected they feel, the more popular individual and collective teams will get. And for me, I just think it'll be better for the world, because if you have people that are engaged in something and passionate about, even if it's a team, maybe they'll be more likely to go out themselves and try to play the game that they're passionately watching and loving.
Sounds good. Speaking of connection, let's connect with our audience, shall we? Take some questions for a final 7.5 minutes of our great panel. With the bright lights I can't see, but I know there's mics floating around, so just fire away and direct who you want the question to.
Is this on? Okay. I have a question. Can I have a hug?
That's
From who? Linda, right?
Why not from us?
From the captain of the U.S.
Yeah, come on up here. Let's go.
all right. I give him credit.
That's really bad.
I give him credit for having
Yeah.
the guts to ask.
Do you think Michael Phelps would have given you a hug?
Oh.
That was a good answer.
Right, exactly. That's a 5-star hug.
Those are the best questions ever.
Right, the easiest to
That I
answer,
don't ever
Abby.
have to answer. Yeah.
Right, easiest to answer. You're good at that. Okay, next. There's gonna be a
Hi,
lineup for hugs.
my name is Christina. I'm a student ambassador from the University of Louisville, and I have a question for all three of you women out there. For the women in this room that are students that are trying to go into the sports industry, that's why we're here, what advice do you have for us, since we seem to have an uphill climb? What advice can you guys give us from just your experience?
Well, I'll start that off. Just get rid of that vocabulary and uphill climb.
Yep.
Right? Stop the negative. No, positive. Come on, you know your stuff, you're good at it. Share your knowledge, meet people, get involved, whatever you're doing at that moment. You can't meet enough people, you can't share your enthusiasm enough. I mean, that's what helped me when no one was giving me an opportunity way back when, 3 decades ago. But then they saw something in me because they're like, oh my gosh, she's a girl and she really knows her stuff, type of thing. So I would eliminate the negative.
For me, I think it's, I've never really put it as a men-women thing. I feel like I've always just gone after what was important to me. And, in my mentoring younger people kind of finding their way in career paths, I've always said, just be willing to walk through any door, because you don't know where that's going to lead to the next door opening. And, I think I came out of college wanting that ideal job, and it wasn't there. And so I did a few things that led me on a path that has allowed me to be, one of the few women in a male-dominated industry of leading marathons. And it really, for me, isn't something men-woman. I just know what I believe in, and I work really hard, and have surrounded myself with amazing mentors, both men and women, but they've really been, guiding me along my path.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with both of these women even more. What I would say is that as you walk through your life, keep your head up and your eyes open, because the world is your oyster, as they say. It literally is. You can have whatever you want. Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do anything, especially because you're a woman. For me, I know Linda has fought this battle probably her whole career in terms of it being a men's world. I believe that you can have whatever it is you want in your life. And I'm not just saying that, because I never thought I could have the life and career that I've had. When I was really young, there wasn't the possibility of being a professional women's athlete. Right. And look at me now. I've won Olympic gold medals. I've won World Cup trophy. I'm, C-list celebrity famous.
Not in this room.
I was going to say,
Hey.
But the reality is you can do whatever you want. And you might have to fight some battles in terms of there being gender stuff going on and getting into the business world. But who cares? Don't care about that. All you need to do is keep your head up, your eyes open, and I honestly believe that the world, you can take over and do whatever you want. If you believe in yourself, and you listen and you learn from not just women, from men as well. I mean, we all have a lot to learn from each other.
Love it. Great advice.
Is this on? Okay, we're good. My name is Whitney. I'm from the University of Oregon as a student ambassador. And this is mostly for Abby. Congratulations, first
Thank
off.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just played golf with a couple of the University of Oregon players yesterday.
They're pretty cool.
Yesterday morning.
Was there something in your life that really made you want to use your platform for social change as a professional athlete? Because I feel like you're in the minority of most professional athletes, and being here is obviously one step. But there's something when you were younger that really pushed you to want to change.
It's actually a really interesting question, and I think there was a transformation for me in 2010, 2011, when I started to give a little bit better of an interview. I wasn't as nervous in front of the camera. I wasn't nervous in front of big crowds. And I started asking myself, I wonder why that is, And what I realized is I started actually talking from my own heart. Mm-hmm. And what people don't understand and forget is that when you're in a boardroom or you're in a meeting or you're in a locker room or whatever it is you do, you start thinking about what you should be saying, And I have a saying that you should all over yourself.
Can I put that on a T-shirt?
Yeah, you should all over yourself. And I think it's important that if you are a good person and you live as well as you possibly can and try to be successful in your life, then nothing should prevent you from speaking your mind and being yourself. And so I've never been on a mission to necessarily create social change or create any sort of conversation around whether it be my sexual orientation or talk about transgender issues at the ESPYs last week or whatever the issue is. I've never made it my mission in life to do it. I'm just talking about things that need to be talked about, whether it personally affects me or not, because there are so many people on this planet that need help, that need a voice. And man, I am not scared to talk, obviously. So be yourself, find something that you are passionate about, and if you do that, you will find yourself on a platform allowed to talk about things that matter to you and that matter to other people so that we can positively affect social and economic change in our world.
Nice. We have time for one last question from the crowd.
I got one.
Okay.
Hey, Tracey, how you became a good soccer player?
I couldn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
How you became a good soccer player?
How have I become a good soccer player? That's a good question. I don't know. It was so long ago that I started playing. It was almost 25 years ago. No, 29 years ago.
Who's counting?
Yeah, that I started playing soccer. But I credit a lot of my success to my family and my upbringing. I credit them for my off the field abilities to be able to be genuine and authentic, and then on the field, I credit my teammates. You know, I've never scored a goal. Literally, I've never scored a goal without the help of another teammate, and that's the truth. And that's the truth in all walks of life. In every boardroom you go into, sometimes there is one person that makes decisions, whether it's a coach or the CEO, but everybody and every piece matters. So every teammate I've ever had have helped me achieve the level of success that I've gotten in my career.
There it is. All right, let's give a hand to this fabulous panel, please. And thanks to you, the audience, for coming out and seeing it. All right.
Are we good?